We're outside the Stata Center, building 32, where you'll find the Department of Linguistics and Philosophy. It's a gorgeous sunny day here. Let's go inside and start the second lecture. Important to get masked up, of course, inside the building. I know that many of you are not here and are unable to see this amazing place, but you will sooner or later. The only problem with this building, beautiful though it is that it does tend to leak. Elevators are a lot less crowded these days. Let's get started with the first module on the existence of God. I miscounted and said in an earlier video that there are 11 modules. The mathematicians among you will have noticed that there are in fact 12. And production values for the videos should increase as time goes on. We're converting one of our seminar rooms in the Stata Center to a studio with a green screen, but it's not quite ready yet. And of course, I'd very much welcome any feedback on the lectures, since this is a learning experience, not just for you, but also for me. In this lecture, we're going to do two things. First, we're going to discuss the ontological argument for the existence of God. Second, we're going to do a bit of elementary logic and talk about arguments in general. There's an ungraded quiz on arguments that you should complete after viewing the videos, and I'll remind you about that at the end. Michelangelo's The Creation of Adam again. After we're done with the ontological argument this week, we'll turn to another quite different argument for the existence of God next week, and end with an argument against the existence of God. But before getting to the ontological argument, let's look at a few facts and figures about religious belief. The data here are from 2015. They haven't changed much since then, although Muslims in green are the fastest growing religious group, predicted to catch up with Christians in red sometime this century. As you can see from the map, Christianity is the dominant religion in the Americas, Europe, the bottom half of Africa. Islam in green dominates in Africa, a bit above the equator, the Middle East, Western Asia, Indonesia. Hindus are clustered in India, Buddhists in Mongolia, and mainland Southeast Asia. Jews are a tiny fraction of the world population, as you can see from the pie chart, 0.2%, and the religiously unaffiliated in purple make up a majority of the population in the People's Republic of China and 5 other countries, including Japan. Anyway, a safe bet is that at least 80% of people are religious in one way or another. Turning now to the US, this is from a survey of nearly 5,000 adults in 2017. 80% say they believe in God, and more than half, 56%, believe in God as described in the Bible. Interestingly, a majority of agnostics, who are supposed to have no opinion as to whether God exists, do think that there is a higher power or spiritual force. And even atheists, who are supposed to believe that there is no God, are not universally hard-nosed. Nearly 2 out of 10 atheists think that there's some higher power out there. We should distinguish between being religious and believing in God. Buddhists don't believe in a God who created the universe and with whom we can have a personal relationship. Some religions have many gods, not just one. And anyway, what is this God, or what are these gods? In Michelangelo's The Creation of Adam, God is depicted as an old man with a beard. Moreover, an old white man with a beard. Surely a supernatural being like God does not have a beard, and that's not because he's clean-shaven either, he just doesn't have a chin. And looking down the track to our discussion of sex and gender, what's with the pronoun he? How could God have a sex? How could God be either male or female? He couldn't, according to the Catechism of the Catholic Church. He is neither man nor woman. God is pure spirit, in which there is no place for the difference between the sexes. This was written when John Paul II was Pope, I think. And looking down the track again to our discussion of race, whatever you think race is, it's almost impossible to understand how God could have one. Which reminds me of a quotation from the English writer Edme Elizabeth Monica Dashwood, who wrote under the pen name E.M. Delafield, "Most Englishmen are convinced that God is an Englishman, probably educated at Eton." Eton is, if you don't know, Eton College, a famous school in England whose alums include the current UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. And even the age of God is an issue. If God does have an age, he's presumably pretty old, at least as old as the universe. But is God really a temporal being, inside time, or is he somehow outside time? And what would that mean anyway, to be outside time? But I digress. Let's get on to some more plausible attributes of the deity. US Christians probably do not believe that God is American, but 75% of them believe that God has some impressive attributes. God is all-loving, all-knowing, and all-powerful. And that conception of God is pretty close to the one that figures in the ontological argument, which is the business of the next video.